My reason for doing the clubhouse, of course, is me being an LGBT person. Many places I couldn't go, so let's see if we can develop something or a place where everybody can go. Andre and I basically used to go up to New York, and we started visiting this location called The Loft. And we said, wow, this would be a great idea to have something like this in Washington, D.C. for the Black LGBT community. So I came back to D.C. and we had some money saved up. So I used to hop on my motorcycle every weekend and just drive all through Washington looking for a place. And I stumbled upon what is now the clubhouse, which was a warehouse. I took Andre and Chase, the other partner, over there, and they immediately fell in love with it. I found out who owned it, negotiated the lease, got inside, and we checked it out, and we kind of sat down and figured out how we were going to lay it out since it was just a warehouse. The clubhouse, believe it or not, was 2 buildings. One address is 1296, which most people was aware of as the clubhouse. The other address is 1298. Generally, we used the 1296 entrance, but sometimes we had to use the 1298 entrance if we had 2 affairs going on at the same time.
I attended, not knowing what it was, but it was on a Friday night, which was considered a straight night. While I was there, it was like an eye-opening experience. It's like I didn't even know this existed, but yet I did not know it was gay on Saturday. Right after that, I came back on a Saturday, and the experience was totally different.
Normally, we only used the 1296 entrance. However, there were certain times, like when New Year's occurred, and if New Year's was on a Saturday night, we had a major problem because the Friday people, quote unquote, straight folks, wanted to come to a New Year's party. Quote, quote, the children, the LGBT people wanted to come to the gay party. So then we would open up the 1296 door for the straight people to go in and push their line up the street, and we would open up the 1298 door for the LGBT people and push their line down the street. We would post our security in the middle where the door was, because believe it or not, no LGBT wanted to go to the other side, but the so-called straight folks were doing their best to come over to the other side because the music was much more upbeat. So generally, that's the only time we generally had the 2 doors open separately. The typical night was basically a big party night where we would have anywhere between 400 and 2,000 people. If I was not the manager on duty that night, then I was just there basically observing to make sure things were going according to Hugh and see if there was anything we can improve upon. The clubhouse was not just a business enterprise, but it was, like I say, a big house party.
It was definitely a safe space for us because the way, as far as the gay lifestyle, is like today, it's like out there. Back then for us, it was very discreet. You know, in other words, like the clubhouse itself is in a very nondescript building. You would never know it's there unless someone told you exactly where it was.